if one thing changed everything in my life, this is this thing. Understand that you need to separate to be mentally and physically here with the people you have in front of you.
Dear viewers, welcome to another episode of the DBL podcast, the place where we talk about the business side of health. My name is Siniše Drobnjaka and I will be your host today. And who better to talk about the business side of health and dentistry than my today's guest, Dr. Cyril Gaillard. Cyril, welcome.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
So let me try to give a little bit of context to our audience who you are. You are a dental surgeon from France who owns a clinic, Global Advanced Dentistry Clinic and Training Center and Dental Lab in Bordeaux, as well as a consulting company under the same brand, the Global Advanced Dentistry Consulting.
Exactly.
Sometimes you play padel, I think sometimes it's a lot.
It's a lot. Sometimes I'm a professional player of paddle and an amateur in dentistry, but yes, also.
Which speaks a lot about you, about the balance and the quality of life, which we will get to. And for me, a very important part of your life is your family. You have a very big family, a lot of kids, and this is something that we don't see very often today. And I think it's one of your biggest success stories in your life.
Yes, it's something so important. We focus, everybody focus on business, but we need a balance with personal life and with the family of what you want. But you cannot only focus on business, and this is something with age we feel more. And this is something I want to share with people, that business is important and succeed in business is important, but without family of personal time, it's not so important.
Yeah. Without people to share the success, it doesn't work. So the reason why we are recording this podcast is that in 30 years of my career, soon it will be 31 years in dentistry, I worked and helped a lot of dentists to improve the business side of their dental practices. But I never had a tool or I never had all the important information about the business side of dentistry in one place. That is until I got your book in my hands. And this was the first time that I discovered that somebody took all the important information, all the important strategies and tools about the business side of having a dental practice in one place. So the reason why we are here today is to talk about this very unique tool that you have created. So where did you got the idea to write the book?
It's a long story. Very short. At the beginning, it was Quintessence International asked me to write a book about the topic I want. And so I'm a clinician, I'm a dentist, and it was in 2015, something like this. And at this period, I focused I focused on occlusion and full mouth rehabilitation. And I started to write a book about it. But the technology, digital technology, grows very fast, and I wrote the book, but what I wrote 2 months ago, it was old because the technology is too fast.
Yes.
And so each year I met Quintessence, and Quintessence asked me, okay, Cyril, how is the book? And I said, yes, not too far, but it was very far because it was impossible for me to write the book about this topic. Then COVID arrives, And I was locked down in my house. And I think about writing something that could help people in dentistry. And okay, I succeed in business, not only dentistry, but also in business. And so I decided to write a book for dentists, but in a business part, how to run a business. And so I start to write, and I write the book for 1 year. And after it takes 2 years to design the book and 1 year more to publish the book. And this is a story, the very fast story of the book.
The book starts with a chapter that is so important, and it's the chapter about having the vision.
Yeah.
So why everything starts with the vision?
Yes. I'm a fan of personal development. You know that because we follow seminars together.
Yes.
And I read a lot about personal development, and a part of it is vision. Vision is like the compass for everything we do. And without a clear vision, you're living just by default rather than design your life. And you are the own designer of your life. And this is something we have to understand. We are to design our proper life. And I love Jack Canfield. You know, Jack Canfield, it's an American guy in personal development with an amazing book. In English, I don't know. In English, it's I think it's Succeed by Jack Canfield, something like this. And he said, event plus reaction equals results. And this is something we have to keep in mind, because we cannot always control what happens to us, but we can always choose how we respond to something. And it changed everything. It changed everything in business, but also it changed everything in our personal life. I'm divorced, and when I go through the divorce, it's something it's not cool.
Yes.
But how I decide to respond to the divorce, it could be different. And the result could be different. And how we manage my divorce is different, because I designed how I react to the problem.
Yes.
And so I talk about vision. This is the first part of my book. And in my book, I suggest some exercise. And one of the exercise I suggest is describe your ideal life across 7 domains, like finance, career, health, relationship, leisure, contribution, and also personal goals. This is your life. You have to feel all this part of your life. And so the exercise is write each one from 0 to 10, and this is the starting point. And then write down the specific action needed to move up. And each year work on them to growth. And this is the vision.
Yes. So you reminded me talking about how we react.
Yeah.
One of my guests was Ana Stevanovic. She's a professional business trainer now in the medical and dental field. And she was trained by Bob Proctor. You know, he's one of the founders of personal development. And when you graduate in his school, you get a coin, like a metal coin, and one side is very hard and the other side is very smooth. And on the smooth side, it's written respond, and on the rough side, it's written react. So you remind yourself that we should respond, not react to what's happening to us.
Yeah. And the difference, it's amazing. And the difference between both is the time you spend before response. When you react, is that you you feel something, you react.
Yes.
And it's too fast. And the thing is, you feel something, you stop, and you respond. And it's completely different.
But now I need your help. This is not just a conversation. I'm always trying to talk about my problems and my issues. And I always tried to use vision and to visualize, but somehow it never, I was never able to create this habit fully, like to a very large extent, that I'm using like a board to visualize my goals, etc. So how do you do it? How is the having a vision and visualizing it? How do you do it in your life for yourself?
Just to be sure to understand the questions.
Yes.
How I stay focused on my vision? This is the question?
Let me try to put it in other words. So having a vision, usually it means that you have a picture or that you have some like visual help to think about what is your vision. It cannot be just an idea in your head, or it cannot be just one sentence in your goal book. Sometimes we put pictures and we visualize what we want to get. So how do you do it? How is it working in your life? What is your way?
So my way, the first thing is to be sure that what you want, what you expect is our vision is not the idea of other people. This is something very difficult because the vision, what we want to do, most of the time it's because of influence of our environment. And this is so complicated. So the first thing, what I do, it's I spend 1 or 2 days alone in a place I loved. And I think at what I want to achieve for the next 5 years. And I want to be alone. I don't want to be influenced by people, even by my wife or my kids, just alone.
This is so important.
So important. And then when you decide, okay, I would like to become this kind of person, I would like to have this kind of thing, your vision at 5 years, the most important behind that, it's why do you want this? The why is important. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to challenge yourself and you want to, I don't know, run an ultra trail. Okay, okay.
Yes.
And the question is, why do you want to achieve that? And if your why is not so important and is not really clear, don't do it. Don't do it. It's just because you want to. It's probably your ego.
Yes.
That talk. It's not you. So be alone for 2 days and write your vision and challenge your vision with the question why. And write the why. So important. And after this, what I do, it's I take a picture of my vision and what I want to achieve for the next 5 years. And I put some picture and some draw and something on the wall of my office or in my room. And every morning, every day, I see the picture and I remember that this is my vision and this is my priorities. And just something about the why. It's also important because when you are not motivated, because all the day is not motivation all the day. Sometimes you are motivated, sometimes you lost the motivation, and it's normal. And when you lost the motivation, just back to the why. Just read again the why you decide to do it. And I can tell you some example from me. So I love to do sports, and when my kids were younger, I decided that I have to take care a lot to my health and to do a lot of sport, and also have to take care of what I eat, what I drink, everything. Just not because I want to be healthy. No, it wasn't my why. My why was I want to do some sport. I want to challenge my kids when they were teenagers. I want to challenge them. But to do that, I need to be sharp.
To be good, yes.
Yes. And it was my why. And sometimes it's difficult. And so just read my why. Why do you have to take care of what you eat, what you drink, and make sport every day? Okay, it's for my kids, because I want to share something with my kids.
Yes.
And this is one of my why.
So this is so important, and let me summarize the first chapter about the vision, because I want to cover other chapters. I mean, it's all important, but we don't have unlimited time, so I will try to move through the conversation. So for the vision, we have to take time, and it has to be our vision. It should never be influenced by others. There should be a very strong reason why we do it. And sometimes when we don't feel motivated enough, we can go back, we can look at the vision board, we can look at the reason why we are doing it, and this will become our driving force for everything else. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Perfect. So my favorite topic, it's not vision. I think I'm just learning about how vision is important. My favorite topic is time and how to organize time. As you know, I was walking the Camino last year. I came to visit you, so actually my Camino started in your home, and I'm so grateful that I was there with you and with Fanny. And you write in the next chapter of the book about time, about the laws of productivity. And what would be your favorite law of productivity that you're using?
Yes, the time management is really important. And so we started with the vision, and from the vision, you define your priorities. Make sense?
Yes.
And most of the time, I met people and they told me, I don't have time. But this is fake. We all the people have time. We have the same time. This is equal for everybody. 20 hours, 7 days a week.
Yes.
And the problem is not I don't have time. The problem is I don't know my priorities. So this is why we start with vision, and we define our priorities, and we place my priorities in my agenda. And so after this, for me, one of the best law of time management is the Pareto's law, the 80-20.
Yes.
Yes, it's so important. And it's so important for dentists, because dentist is a people perfectionist. They want something perfect. And when we want something perfect, we work a lot to achieve 100% of the results, but it's not necessary. The Pareto law is you work 20% and you achieve 80% of the results. And it's enough. It's enough. After this, you have to work 80% to achieve
the
20%.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yes.
And so for me, it's a game changer. Pareto law, 80-20, you can move forward very fast with a great result. Of course, it's not perfect, but it's enough. And you go forward and you grow with that. This is, for me, this is my best for me.
What you are saying, that good enough is 80%. We don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I think this is such an important message, because a lot of dentists, they are suffering from this perfection paradigm. You know, they want everything perfect, and it's not always a good way to look at things. So I'm completely on your side that 80% is good enough.
Yeah. It's yes. You know, it's like we do consulting with my wife for dentists.
Yes.
And it's like, do you have a website? Not yet. Why? Because the picture is not perfect. Because the text is not perfect. Because the color is not perfect. But it's not important. Put your website on Google.
Yes.
And after, correct what you want. But don't wait the perfect website to place it on Google, because after Google need to work to place you on the first page.
I completely agree with you. I also prefer action and then correct as we go. I never waited for the perfect conditions. And this philosophy that you are sharing with us, it's also it's very close to me, and I think almost in the same way. But let's go back to the priorities. So you know your priorities, and then you have the week. You have your week, and you have to organize your week. So how do you do it? How do you put all the priorities? What is your way of thinking about organizing your time in a week?
So my time in a week, I work in clinic 2 days. It's Monday and Tuesday. Okay, I'm with a patient and I treat the patient. And
wait. So this I have to stop you. I'm sorry. So what you're saying, that your clinical work, it's only 2 days in a week?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to repeat this because of the audience.
Okay.
Most of the dentists, they work 5 or even 6 days a week clinically.
Yeah. But I'm 50, 51, very close now, and I decided to move to this organization maybe now 5 years ago. But before, I think I was focused all my life about the balance we talk about, business and personal life. So when I was younger, 23, 24, so I was a dentist, and I decided at this period that to see my kids and my wife was important. And so I worked at this period 4 days. It was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So Wednesday was off, because in France it's off for the kids. So I took care of the kids at this moment, and the weekend also off. But I understood that it was too much to work only clinical parts for 4 days, because after, for my business, I have administration to do and finance to do and other things for my business. And so very fast, I decided to only work 3 days and a half, and a half day for administrative parts of my business.
Yeah, understand.
And what I saw is my revenue was the same, but my focus was better. And so I said, okay, so I able to produce dentistry in 3 days and a half rather than 4 days, but my revenue is the same. Let's start 3 days. And I moved for 3 days. And I moved for 3 days. And in 3 days, my revenue was the same. So for 3.5, 3, it was the same. And I stay like this with 3 days of dentistry, just clinical parts. And after 1 day for my business to manage finance and everything. And my revenue was the same. And after this, I challenged more, and I challenged 2 days. And at 2 days, so I was older, and in 2 days, it was more difficult. In 2 days, I needed to change all the protocols and to have more staff around me to manage everything in 2 days. But it works. And so in 2 days, I was able to create the same revenue than 3 days, 3.5, and 4 days. And it's not the same. It was better because I can tell you my revenue. So when I was younger, when I was 30, my revenue was around 500,000. Okay, it was my revenue. And I did it in 4 days, 3.5 days, and 3 days. And I read a book. The book is a psychocybernetic. It's a...
I know, Maxwell something.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so, and my revenue was like, I was a barrier, okay? I was something, it was always 500,000. And each year it was 500,000. Even if I worked less, it was 500,000. I read the book, and in the book, it's a very good book, and something shocked me in the book. Like it was the seller of a printer, and he explained something. And so I read it and say, okay, it's in my mind. It's my mindset. My mindset is not good, and it's why I cannot go through 500,000. And it was my belief. My belief was, if I do more, I don't treat well my patients. Make sense?
Yes.
But I fight this belief, and I think 2 years after, I touch 1 million. So I realized 1 million in 3 days. And after I go through this and I say, okay, maybe I can do more with the same quality of clinical stuff. And so just after COVID, I decided to do for just 2 days, but I explained I need to organize my workflow differently with more stuff. And I did 1 million in 2 days. And I go through maybe in 1 day. Maybe in 1 day it's possible, but for me it was not possible. In 1 day, so I organized differently. And in 1 day, my revenue was something like, I think it was around 800,000 in 1 day, but it's 1 day for 1 year. It's exactly 35 days a year for my clinical stuff. But it was a lot of pressure on my shoulder, but also on my team. So it was not realistic for me. I don't say, don't do that. I just explain my experience.
Yes.
But for me, it was too much pressure. And so I come back, and now I work again 2 days a week. And it's something like 78 days a year in dentistry.
Yes. This is for me such an inspiring story, because what you are sharing with everybody else is that it's about the mindset, and it's about your beliefs, and especially it's about the limiting beliefs which are preventing us to do what we want. So this is such an important message for everybody that will be watching this podcast, that it's about changing your beliefs, and then we can also get over the limit that we basically did ourselves in our mind.
Yeah. And so sorry about the question, because the question was about my week, and I explained also story.
No, please. We have time.
So, and how I create my planning. My planning is not creating by week, but it's creating by year. So in 1 year, it was my planning. I place my planning, 1 year of my planning behind me, and I decided my priority. So some year, my priority is, I don't know, vacation, because I want to organize a big vacation with my kids. Sometimes it's training paddle, because I have a very important competition at this period. And sometimes it's a business, because I want to grow my business and I want to buy more business. So so depend on my priority, I place my priority first. And then I try to balance everything. So if my priority is, I don't know, grow my business, I want to buy a business, I know that I have to visit some business, I have to analyze the business, or a lot of things about the business. So this is my priority. And so I place everything in 1 year for the project. But between the big priority, I place some rest, some vacation, some other thing. It's not the main priority, but this is something important to me to be happy. And so when you create your planning like this, what happens? Some week you work a lot on your priority and you don't see maybe your family, your kids, or you have less sport to do or something. But it's not important, because everything is organized and you know that 2 weeks later, you have time for your family. And the thing is, separate everything, because if not, when you work on your priority, you think, maybe it will be better to be with my wife. And when you are with your wife,
you think about business.
You think about the business, and your wife is not happy because you are not here. I'm here. No, you are not here. Your mindset is on your business.
Yes.
And this is the problem. And if you separate everything, it's clear. Now it's time to work. Now it's time to rest. Now it's time to enjoy and to play, and separate everything like this. This is how I manage my week.
It's another very important message that you're sharing, because very often I had the exact problem you're describing. I was working and I was thinking about something else. I should be somewhere else, and it was the other way around. So thank you for sharing this. It's helping me a lot to also think about the way I'm organizing my priorities and my time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, the thing, I think it's, if one thing change everything in my life, this is this thing. Understand that you need to separate to be mentally, physically here with the people you have in front of you.
So let's talk about the people in front of you. Let's talk about your team. And let's talk about something that you shared, I think 2 or 3 years ago at the DBL Summit, about using the process communication model with your team. So just give us an example very shortly what it is and how did it help you to communicate better, with your team?
Yeah. Yes, this is something I love to talk about, process communication, because I have a lot of stories to tell to people
Yes.
about it. So process communication is like 6 personalities, like the thinker, the harmonizer, the persister, the rebel, the dreamer, the promoter. And each type, every type of personality is a good personality. It's not some are good and
better,
some
yeah.
are bad.
Yes,
Every personality is good, but we don't communicate in the same way. And so I'm a thinker, okay? And the thinker is someone, when I go through my office and I enter in my office, when I am a thinker, I don't say hello to people. It's someone you go, I'm a thinker, so I go through my office and I enter into my office, my assistant are here, and I go through and I don't say hello. This is a thinker. So imagine someone, maybe the boss, me, go and don't say hello to people. And if you don't know the process communication, you think, okay, this boss, this guy, Cyril, is not a good person. He don't say hello. What is this type of guy?
Yes.
And at the opposite of the thinker, you have the harmonizer, the empathizer, and this is my assistant. This is the real story, my assistant. And what love my assistant and to say hello, how was your evening? How was your vacation? Oh, you changed your haircut. It's beautiful. And for me, the thinker is bullshit. Okay? So imagine how can I communicate with my assistant?
Yes.
My assistant want to talk about the dinner I had with my wife, but it's not interesting for me. But for them, it's so important to know.
Yes.
Because they are empathizer. And so when you know who is thinker, empathizer, dreamer, rebel, everything, you know how to communicate with people, how to manage people, because your management change in relation with the personality of the people. And it changed everything in my office when I learned that. So now, when I go through my office and I enter to my office and I don't say hello because this morning I was a real thinker, it's not a problem for my assistant, because my assistant knows that it's not personal. It's Cyril, he's a thinker today, and he focus.
Yes.
And they smile. And also, when I go through my office and my assistant says, hello, how was your dinner? How was your evening? Are you happy today? And it's not a problem for me. I know it's important for them to talk about. And so I talk about it. And everybody communicates better with the process communication.
So did you have all your team members go through making a profile to figure out, and you probably asked some consultant or some trainer to help you with this, the whole thing?
Exactly. So when, so all my team go through the process communication. And so it was like a team building, or everybody explain who they are, and it's a good moment. And also a coach from process communications came into the office to explain how to discuss, how a thinker has to discuss with a dreamer, how the dreamer has to discuss with a rebel. Like a dreamer is someone when you have a meeting with your team, and if someone never talk, think probably is a dreamer. And when you don't know that, we think that this person that never talk, they are not interested by the meeting. But no, it just is a dreamer, and a dreamer never talk. He stays in their mind. And so when you have a dreamer in your team, ask a question to the dreamer. So a lot of things, and we talk about the team, but also my kids. So my kids, they don't go through the process communication, but I succeed to know what kind of personality have my kids. And it's very funny that because one of my, so I'm a thinker, and one of my son is a rebel. And thinker or rebel, it's at the opposite. Thinker is very analytic, square,
Yes.
Everything has to be perfect.
Yes.
And the rebel is enjoy the life. The thinker go to the bed very early, wake up very early because it's so important. And the rebel is make a party every night. So imagine the father, me, and my son at the opposite. So we fight a lot of time about how I expect he becomes. And when I understood that he was a rebel and he never becomes a thinker, because his personality is a rebel with a lot of quality of the rebel, because the rebel has a lot of quality, I decided to manage him differently, and we stopped to fight instantly.
I'm a harmonizer, and my daughter Emma, she's a promoter.
Okay.
So we are in a good way. We know how to talk to each other, but it also helped me to understand myself better and to understand her better. And we use the DISC method at work. So every employee in my company goes through a DISC assessment. So we know, do we have enough red people who are very direct? Do we have enough yellow people who are very, open in communication, etc.? And it really helps me a lot. But I also want to ask you about other skill regarding your team, and that's delegation.
Yeah.
How important it is for you to delegate? Because you said, I went from working 5 days to 3 days to 2 days, but I had to change a lot. And I think you also needed to delegate a lot when you were working less hours.
Yes, delegation is, if you want to go very high, you need to have a team, and you need to delegate. And you cannot to be good enough for all the things you have to do. And so you have to create a team and to have people in your team better than you in a lot of things. I just want to be better to create the team. And I want someone better. I will talk about my team of dentists. I want someone better in periodontology. I want someone better in endodoncy. I want someone better, and I want someone better in today for me, in each part of dentistry, because I don't want to treat more patients that I treat now. My priority is in another way. And so I want every dentist in my team better. And one of the problems we met with a dentist is they want to create a team, but they want to keep the control and to be better than their associate or the young dentist. No, when the young dentist come into my office, I want to give him everything I know, because I want it become better than me. And for my assistant, the same. When my assistant takes a picture of the patient, she becomes better than me. At the end, she trained me to take a picture. And everything we do in delegation in this way. And the problem is, so in my mindset, I don't want that become better than me because I want to be the boss, and the boss is not to be better. And the other thing is, we don't know how to delegate. And the thing we see with Fanny when we do consulting in the office is I explain once and it's enough, and it's not delegation. Delegation is like I explain to you what I expect exactly, and I show you, and you do it, and I control each step. And after you do it, and I control at the beginning, and I control at the end. And after you do it very well. But it's a lot of process.
It's a process.
It's not just, okay, I explained once, it's enough. No, it's not enough. It's my team is like my kids. To your kids, you explain and explain and explain
and again,
with patience.
Yes.
It's the role. And with the team is like this. And we have to delegate also for the team. Delegation is so important. We have to delegate for the team because if you want your team stay with us for a long time, just not, okay, for 1, 2, or 3 years, and after decide to change the job and to go to another office, we have to feed the team. You have to challenge the team. And so we have to delegate a lot of things. And so it's something funny because when dentists come into my office to see how I work, most of the time they say, but you don't work. Everybody around you work, but you just go through the chairs and explain one thing, go back and explain, yes, but this is my value. And the value of my team is to create dentistry.
And when we talk about dentistry, and now I will move to the marketing part of your book. Last time you were speaking at the DBL Summit, you said that dentistry went through the dentistry of production, and then it was the dentistry of providing a service, and today it's about creating experience.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit?
Yes, it's so it was a sentence I listened in US. It was in 2000, something like this, and they explained that we are not in business and production, but we are in business and service. So it was in 2000. It was something like, okay, I was a young dentist. So that, okay, what did it mean? Business. I'm business of production because I produce this,
Yes.
root canal, implants, something, and say no. What the patient buy is not your crown, is not your implants, it's your services. How he feel. And so now it's more like this, it's more experience. What kind of experience leaves the patient when he go into your office? And it's not only into your office. This is a patient experience. This is something very large. It starts with your online presence. How the patient meets you online. Websites, social network, also how the patient, word of mouth, how the patient heard of you in his environment. This is the beginning. And because when the patient go into your office and you check the hand and say hello, the patient knows you before and has an idea of what kind of dentist you are. And it's not about production. It's just the beginning of the experience of the patient. And so it's the visibility, how the patient heard about you. And we have, we could talk about a lot of things.
Yes.
This. But after, how the patient call you in your office, is it enough? Is it easy, not easy? how the reception answer to the phone. Also, when the patient come into the office, is the reception is okay and waits for the patient, or nobody is at the desk. And after, how the dentist and the team introduce themselves to the patient, and after everything. But after, it's more production. It's how I realize the first consultation, how I take the impression, the X-ray, mojo, what, but you feel it's a little bit more production. But if the beginning was not good for the patient, he feels like this office is not good. But imagine if the beginning of the experience is just amazing website, amazing
how the building looks, how like, yes.
Everything amazing for the first point. The patient feels like, okay, it's a good dentist. And after, you can do your work, first consultations, impression, everything you know about your business, your clinic. And the patient at the end will sign your proposal.
Yes.
And so this is something we have to take care. And I think is one of the key points of the success of your clinic or not. And it's a lot of details.
Yes. You inspired me because you were talking also at the DBL Summit about this topic, the patient journey. And you said, when I go to meet the patient for the first time, my uniform has to be very clean. I have to be fresh. And 3 weeks ago, I recorded the podcast with my team. We went to speak with a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. He was one of the 12 best surgeons in the world. So we were supposed to start the recording at 12 o'clock, like midday, and they called us 2 days before, and they said, we have a complex surgery. We will start the recording of the podcast at 4 p.m. So we had to wait until 9 o'clock in the evening because it was a much more complex surgery. And our guest, Professor Ninkovic, he showed up 9 o'clock in the evening in a fresh uniform, fresh from the shower, smelling nice, looking great. His hair was great. And he said, okay, guys, welcome. I apologize. It was a very complex surgery. Let's record the podcast. And I remembered that you were saying exactly the same words. When you meet the patient for the first time, you really have to prepare.
Yeah. It's you have to prepare physically and mentally. You have to, it's what you said before. Reaction and response.
Yes.
It's the same. If you finish a surgery and go very fast because you don't pause wait for 2 minutes to refresh, it just reacts. But if you stop for 2 minutes, refresh, mentally also refresh, and go to the patient, it's a response. And it's better for the patient in just 2 minutes.
One of the topics that I see that dentists are struggling is our next topic. It's the KPIs, the key performance indicator. I noticed that very often dentists, and we will talk about it. We will talk about it in the last part of the podcast. They say, "I'm a dentist. I'm not a businessman. I don't use all the words, all the terminology in business, and sometimes, I don't understand what exactly you're saying." So how do you explain to your colleagues when you are mentoring them what are the key performance indicators, KPIs, and why are they so important for running the business side of the practice?
Yes. I think the problem is dentists think that if they follow a KPI, people around them will think that they're focused on business and money and not on treating patients.
Yeah. Only about profit, not about patients.
Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, if you think KPI is because you want to make a lot of money, and if you make a lot of money, it's you treat bad the patient. It's beliefs, but it's what people think.
Yes.
I don't know in Europe, but probably the same, but it's maybe worse in France because health in France is something like free. And if you think about KPI, we think about money, and I want to make a lot of money. And so the first thing is to explain, and this is one of my coach told me many years ago. It was, if your bank account was full money, will you be better dentist? And I thought, yeah. And the real answer is probably yes. Probably yes. Imagine, dentistry is my patient. I don't need to do dentistry to buy my house or feed my kids, and just for pleasure because he's my patient. Will be a better dentist? Really, yes. And if people say, no, it will be the same, for me, it's a lie.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
Okay?
Yes.
And so when you start to think, okay, so if I make a money, if I'm financial free and I have no pressure with the money, I could be a better dentist for my patient. So how can I perform more with the business? And you need to measure something. And to measure something, you need to have KPI. So now let's talk about KPI, because I need to have KPI finally to be a better dentist. Is it clear?
Yes.
And so after it's okay. Also, we talk like this with the dentists about the KPI. When you do a root canal treatment, you take an X-ray to know if you're good or not. If you place an implant, same thing. You measure something. So if you run your business, you have to measure something. So what is your X-ray?
Yes. Yes.
My X-ray is my KPI.
Yes.
It's enough. It's easy. And so we place and we work with the dentist to implement some KPIs in the clinic. And something at the beginning, we have to stay very simple with the KPI, because in business
Yes.
you can have a lot of KPI to measure everything, but the thing is just measure what is important for you at your step.
But give me an example, like where would you normally start when you go and consult a new dentist? Can you give us like an example?
My first work is to ask a dentist, do you have an objective of revenue? And in France, most of the time is no. And it's very strange. It's like, okay, so you go to your office, you work maybe 200 days a year, and you don't have an objective of revenue? No. So how can you achieve and to have a goal if you don't have objective? So now we will define an objective for you, and we work like this. So the first is define the revenue by months. And we compare after 1 month, we define, I don't know, 30,000, and this is the objective, and we have the result, and we compare. This is the first thing. The second thing is how many new patients do you need? Because the new patient is like the gas of your
business.
Of the car.
Yes.
So same thing. You need to define how many new patients do you need in your office by day, by week, by month. This is the second one. And on the new patients, and sometimes on the old patients, you give some treatment plan. And so what is the case acceptance of your treatment plan? And this is the first KPIs we follow with the dentist. This is for the part of the revenue. But, so imagine, most of the dentists didn't follow this. So imagine, do they follow the expenses?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. And the same, we define the expenses. So what is the percentage of your salaries? What is the percentage of your prosthetics, your implants, your everything? And we define the same, and we place some KPIs about the expenses, because if you gross your revenue, but you gross by 2 your expenses, is not good. What is important at the end? Profits.
Yes.
So we work like this with the dentist. So revenue, new patients, treatment plan, and expenses, and at the end with both profits, and each month what is the profits we do. And we want to have profits. And for me, the target for the profits, it's between 10 and 15%.
So in your experience, with which part of this formula, of this strategy, of this process that you're describing, where people struggle the most? Where do they have biggest problems? Is it possible to, is it a good question, or is it different?
No, this is a good question. I think the struggle with the expenses.
With the expenses.
Yes.
To control the expenses, or to spend the money from the clinic on their private pleasures. Sometimes in the States, no.
To control the expenses. To control the expenses. I coach a lot of dentists who create a new office. So they had an old office and create a new one with a new building, with a growth, with more chairs and a beautiful one, and they don't know exactly, or they minus how it costs, because it costs a lot, and they don't charge enough in relation with all the expenses. And when I ask, okay, but do you know what is the percentage of your salary of your employees? I don't know. And this is something important. We talk about the experience of the patients in the clinic. And this kind of dentists want to give a lot of experience to the patients. So it means that you need to have assistant, you need to have receptionist, you need to have people around you, and it costs. But they don't know when it's okay for your finance to hiring people, or when you cannot hiring people. And so the struggle is this part, how to manage my expenses. Because, you know, it's something I learned from Tony Robbins when we did the seminar together.
Yes.
It's, you have a part you are an artist, a part you have an entrepreneur, a part you have a manager. And most of the dentists are artists. And the problem of the artist, and we spend, we pay a lot of things because we want to have a lot of device, a lot of employees, a lot of things, and it costs, and sometimes it's too much in relation with our revenue. And most of the dentists, I talk about the dentists we coach, that they move from one office to another one, bigger and more beautiful. Most of these dentists, for 1 or 2 years, don't pay themselves.
Wow.
So it's a big problem, because this is the kind of dentist that want to do quality, they want to give a lot of to the patient, and at the end of the month they cannot pay themselves, and we have to manage revenue and expenses and to create more profits to pay them.
Yes. And this also brings us into the final chapter of your book and our conversation today, and that is freedom, the financial freedom. I also I would say a personal freedom. So how do you define for yourself financial freedom, and what is the road how to get there? What would you advise to other people?
Financial freedom at the beginning, when I know nothing, I thought that it was for other people, but not for me, or not for dentists. And after I learned that my job, and probably the same in Europe, I can earn money from dentistry. So I treat a patient, I place an implant, I place a crown, I place veneers, and I earn money. But also, I can run a business, I can create a business, I can sell my business, and I can earn money also. So after this, I learned a lot about this thing, and it's something amazing in our job. We can earn money from the patient, but also we can earn money with our business. And this is how I became more a businessman. And in my office, my team say, okay, say you're a businessman today. You're not a dentist. I said, oh, I'm also a dentist.
But how do you feel when people were telling you you're a dentist, and somebody comes and tells you, Cyril, you're a businessman? Did you feel good, or did it feel wrong?
Today, I feel good with that.
But in the beginning...
At the beginning, it's very difficult. Because of the beliefs.
Yes.
Also the same.
Yes.
Because, no, I'm not a businessman. And why you don't want to be a businessman? Because probably in my head, it was a businessman is someone who, I don't know, earn money, but is not really fair to earn money.
Yes. And somebody who is taking advantage of other people.
Exactly. But no, I'm a businessman, and I create something like 40 employees. Okay? So I create value for France. And it's okay. And I earn money for that. And so I forgot.
So you were realized that you can make money from dentistry, but you can also make money from having a business.
Yes. And so my goal was, and it's still the same today with the business, is to create value from my business and sell my business. So I sell my business to mine. So I create a new one who buy my old business. This is OBO. It's the same in English.
I think it is.
Owner by owner.
Yes.
Okay. And so I create something like I create a OBO, owner by owner. So I'm the owner, and I buy the owner, and also me the owner. And so when I sell my business to myself, I have a lot of money in my pocket after taxes. I can invest this money. The investment is not cars, is not vacations. This money is for stock market, is for invest in other company, or it's for invest for real estate. So it's investment. And I create this system every 7 years. So every 7 years, I sell my business to myself and I create money. I have a cash flow I have a cash out in my pocket. I invest. And I think in 10, 15 years, I became financial freedom.
So how do you define being financially free? What does it mean for you?
The exercise is how much money do you need to live your life as you want, okay? Every month. And so what I want to create an investment placed at 4-5%, and the interest of this money, this active, give me the money to live every month like I want. So depends on what kind of life you want. If you
yes.
want a jet, a yacht, a big house with an ocean view, or if you want to just have, I don't know, a bike and a park, and it's
Yes.
enough for you, depends on you.
Yes.
But at the beginning of the exercise is what kind of life do you want and how much money do you need to live this life? And after 4%, and create the active to give you this amount every month.
And how did you feel when you realized that I'm financially free? What kind of a feeling was that for you?
Two things. The first, I smile because the first is, oh, it was easy to do. The first is, oh, it was easy to do. The second is, oh, maybe it's not enough. Let's go forward. This is why I smile. Wow. But
so do you
yes.
do you have enough? Do you feel that I'm good enough? I have enough. You know, I don't need to get something else to be personally free and financially free. Is it enough for you?
Yeah, yes. For me, I feel I have enough, and it's yes, I have enough, and I want more today, but it's not to have more at the end because it's like too much because my style of life don't need to have more.
Yes.
But it's just to show to my kids we can do it, and to learn my kids to do the same. And because, you know, in France, it was very, it's also social government, and we have a lot of help from our government in comparison with other countries, but it's less. Okay, we lost, and it's normal because it costs a lot, and France cannot pay for. So we have to change our mentality and to have more action from ourselves to create more value for ourselves. And so this is something I want to share with my kids and to explain them and to show them. You know, it's like, so my kids, my daughter, the oldest, she's 25. And I explained last year, okay, now every month I want you place money on the stock market for all your life. This is something my parents
never told you.
Didn't know, and so
Yes.
cannot give me this advice. But this is the kind of advice I give to my kids, and so I'm comfortable with. I'm more than comfortable with what I have, but I have more to maybe prepare my kids with something more difficult for them.
And it's such a great thing that you are aware that you have enough, but you also want to teach your kids to do the same like you, and maybe even do better than you, because they will start very early. And like you said, from your parents, you didn't get all these messages and all these lessons that you are giving to your kids now. So I'm sure that they will, both my kids, my daughter, she will do better than I did, and it makes me really proud, and I'm really enjoying it.
Exactly.
So I want to thank you, because we covered all the 6 chapters in your book. And if you would give an advice to a dentist before we go to the final part of the podcast. So if you would give one advice to the dentist, why the knowledge in your book is important, where will it help them? So how would you do it in 1 or 2 sentences? Why should they get the book? And how will this book and the knowledge in your book, how will it help them?
Probably what is in the book is not studied in university, but it's so important to know everything in the book, to run a business and to be happy in dentistry. To be happy in dentistry is not, okay, I do a great endo, I place an implant, I use X-guide, what you want in the clinical part is not enough to be happy in dentistry. And so in the book, I decline 6 chapters in the business part, and I gave a lot of information. I think I gave everything I knew at this period to help people and to help dentists to run a business and to be happy, I hope.
Wow. So they can be both good dentists and happy people in the same time.
Yeah.
And I think this is a very important message, because I work with a lot of customers, with a lot of dentists, and very often I see them being financially successful, but the other part is missing. The happiness, the joy, enjoying the life, it's not always there. And now I need your help, because we did a research, and we are running a research about the biggest problems in healthcare. Also, it means dentistry. Also, it means for doctors who have medical clinics, etc. And when we did this questionnaire, we got 7 biggest problems that people face. So I will read you a problem by problem, and I want to get in 1 or 2 or 3 sentences what is your perspective on this problem that your colleagues are facing. Good? Are we good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So the first one is, my practice runs my life. My business runs my life.
The problem is your priorities. What is your priorities? Is your priorities is your business, or is your priorities is your life? And after this, we talk about, think about 1 year, or maybe for your practice, think about 5 years. What is your vision for your business in 5 years? And divide these 5 years in 1 year after 1 year, and after 1 year, divide 1 month after 1 month, and after divide 1 week after 1 week. And just have a small step to achieve your vision in 5 years. And accept that your vision will take 5 years to achieve. Because sometimes my practice runs my life because I want to go very fast.
Yes.
And I want to do everything in the same times.
Yes.
And of course, you don't have time.
It's what Tony Robbins says. Sometimes we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. You know, we don't. Yeah. So the next one. Yeah, please. Yeah. You wanted to say.
I love this sentence.
Yeah. So the next problem, and it's like 59% of people say, I'm under a constant pressure of performing too many roles, being the owner of my practice.
Yeah.
What is your take on this problem?
The problem is, in one day, I want to have all the roles of all the roles as an owner of practice. I explain. Separate your different roles. Monday, you're a clinician and you treat as a clinician, but if you have management to do, say no. No, it's not the time. Today, it's clinician. And organize your week. I don't know, example.
Yes.
Monday is clinician. Tuesday morning is management. Tuesday afternoon is clinician. Wednesday is freedom, rest, and maybe Thursday is clinician, and Friday morning is business owner. And just focus one thing one day or an half day. Because if not, you're like a multitask. And in your head, it's a lot of things and it's a stress.
That's a great advice. I will use it on myself as well. So the next problem is I'm not able to attract, hire, and keep the best employees.
Yeah. Why the employee want to work with you? It's sense. Yes, it's sense.
Yes.
It's in the morning, I wake up and I go to my job and I want to give something to people or to the society.
Yes.
This is sense. Also, it's delegation. It's when I go to the job, do you have something to do very interesting, or do I do nothing interesting? So delegation is so important. One of the most important thing for a manager is to grow their team. They need to feed the team because everybody want to grow, want to learn a lot of things. And because you have sense, because you grow your team, you keep the motivation. This is also something important. And one of the last thing, I don't know if it's the last, but one thing is the salary, the money, of course. But I don't play the money first, because if you play the money first, you have a good salary. But you don't have sense, you don't have motivation because you don't give something interesting to people, people will quit.
Will go. Yeah, I agree.
And also, maybe one more on this topic is onboarding. When I hiring people, how I help people to feel good in my team. So we have something very like a procedure for implant or endo. We have the same thing for GAD. When the people arrive, one of my old assistants help the younger one every day, and also the younger one have a lot of paper with a lot of things to learn every week. It works. It writes, and also at the end of the week, the young assistant has to send me an email with everything she learned, everything with a problem, and we try to fix the problem for the next week. This is also important.
It's a great piece of advice again. So the next problem is I'm constantly working long hours and overtime.
Yes. Why do you need to work long hours? Sometimes you work long hours because one of your beliefs is it's normal. Because if I work only 2 days like a Cyril,
yes,
I'm
I
not a
make no
dentist.
money. Yes.
So this is the first thing. Maybe it's not a belief for you, but you need to work long hours because you need to create a revenue to pay everything. So the thing at this moment, if it's like this, is how is my expensive? Is it too much or not? And if my expensive is not too much, why my revenue is too low? And we don't talk about this, but most of the time in France and probably in Europe is the same, is we don't charge enough. We have fear to charge enough because we think if I charge enough or too much, too much, probably the patient didn't say yes to my treatment and go in the other office and I lost the patient. And the problem is we need to charge enough. If we don't charge enough, what happens? We work for a long time to make the revenue.
What you said is also connected to the next problem. And the next problem people report is I'm not able to grow my practice and my revenue.
Probably it's because you think alone, because you want to control everything, you don't want to delegate, and you cannot grow your practice if you do everything by yourself. It's impossible. I think the main problem in this sentence is delegate, and you will grow your practice because other people work with you. If not, impossible.
I am a dentist, not a businessman.
My advice, say every morning, I'm a dentist and a businessman.
This is a great piece of advice. And finally, something that I see with a lot of my customers, when they say I'm emotionally exhausted and I lost the passion for dentistry.
Yeah, and I understand this one, or this one I understand, but this one I understand because
Why does it happen? Why does it happen?
Sorry?
Why people? What is the cause of this problem when people get emotionally exhausted and there is no passion for dentistry?
I don't know why. What I know, it's I felt that. So and what you say that here, I have the same with the dentist in coaching for GAD consulting. I don't know if we are able to be a dentist for 40, 45 years. You know, this job is very demanding. You need concentration. You have to be very precise. And we have a lot of things to think about clinical part, but also about business parts. And I think we have to, when we feel that, we have to challenge ourselves. Is it a problem with the job of dentist? I don't want more interaction with patient. I don't want to treat patient. It's enough. This is this problem.
Yes.
Or if the problem is the business part, we talk from maybe 1 hour and a half now.
Yes.
It's very demanding to me, and I focus this, but I don't want to see this, and it makes like a shadow on the clinical part.
Yes.
You know. So if the problem is clinical part, it's enough for me. I do it for 20, 25 years, and it's enough. That's not a problem. Find something else to do, and maybe the business part will be cool for you. And create a team, maybe like me, or the team do the clinical part and you manage the business part. If the problem is, this is the business part, I don't like the business part, and it's like a pollution for my clinical part. But so organize your business parts. Maybe you can hire people from the business part to help you, and you just share with these people where you want to place your clinic for the next 5 years, and they work on the business part and you focus on the clinical part. And so I think it's one of these two problems. And it's not the same problems. Some of the dentists, it's enough for the clinical part. And some of the dentists love the clinical part, but because of the pressure of the business part, they lost a patient of the clinical part.
I remember I was also suffering from losing the passion for my work, and it changed when I met you actually, and I met Florine 8 years ago, or I think it was 8 years ago, and when I saw the passion and how both you and Florine were working together and how it was something very fresh and innovative, somehow I also got the passion back for my work, and you helped me a lot at that point in time.
With pleasure. And also for everything, every sentences you told me, it's when you do something, you did something, and you have one result. If you do the same thing, you will have the same result. So if you have a problem, don't do the same thing, change something. If not, you will have the same result. So if I'm exhausted and I lost my passion of dentistry for the next 3 years, I have to change something. Don't wait. Don't wait, change. And maybe change, go to the summit with you to Zagreb, to
Yes.
change the mentality, to meet other people, but we have to change.
So you will be joining us this year on our seventh edition of the summit in September. I really want to thank you because you are one of the founders that is from the beginning in this project, and I'm so looking forward to see you actually very soon in Zagreb.
Yes. I'm so happy to come back to Zagreb because last year I was sick with the virus. So 1 month later, I will stay in my house.
Don't move.
Yes, I'm so happy to be back in September in Zagreb, and I don't know my topic yet.
We will talk about the topic, but it will be one of the business topics, because reading your book, it helps, and in a very practical way. And just to finalize our podcast today, what I heard from you a lot was we have to change the way we think, change the mindset. So we will talk about changing the mindset.
Yeah, with pleasure.
So, Cyril, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My guest today, for all the viewers, was one and only Dr. Cyril Gaillard from Global Advanced Dentistry Center in Bordeaux. And we will see him live very soon in Zagreb. So thank you all for watching this episode and being with us in the DBL podcast.